Hi everyone, and welcome to the first card in April's card class, featuring the Blessings of Home suite of products that's in the January to June mini catalogue. I have kept my cards very neutral, and I've used different layering techniques to bring each card together. So it's a bit of a pick and mix sort of style of class, and everything you need is in your kits, in the die cut and embellishment pack, and in the instructions that have been emailed to you. If you're watching this video, the good news is you would have found the instructions. So for the first card today, this is the card design we are going to be making. I've very much used the designer series paper on the wood sort of grain effect side, and a lot of my images I've not actually coloured in. The reason being is I didn't want to spend a lot of time on videos colouring in. I think you might find that quite boring, and also I find colouring is a really personal thing. So I've kept the designs very neutral, and I like the way they look without colour, but if you wanted to add your own colouring, you can of course have a little play around with that and choose the colours that work best for your style. So let's make a start. So for card number one, we are going to need a little selection of pieces. So our card base is a tent fold card base. So we've got a measurement of 10.5 wide by 29.8 long, and we've scored in the middle at roughly 14.9 centimetres. Okay, you could just fold it in half to find your middle section, of course. Okay, now the next pieces I have here is I have some of this wood grain paper that is going to sit on the background of our card. On the reverse of this paper we have the lovely sort of tile mosaic sort of effect. I love that paper. It's actually my favourite paper in the suite, and I think it's just really useful. So we're going to stick that down, but I am of course going to use the wood grain. Don't worry too much. If you love this paper, this pattern will feature on one of the cards a bit later on. So we're going to stick that down to our card front nice and flat. And then one of the other items that I've chosen to use in with these cards is not actually in with this suite, it's in with the Artfully Composed suite, and they are the layering vellums. So they're really thick vellum with different prints on them. So this one is like a text, a script text going in sort of different directions. And what I like about these layering vellums is you can use them to kind of mute your papers a little bit more. And I'll go into that a little bit more on some of the papers I've used later. Now most of my pattern is in the centre of this card, so I'm going to attach my vellum with some glue in the centre, just so that on the off chance that it doesn't dry clear, we won't be able to see it. Okay, so I'm just pushing that down like so. Okay, I've also got a piece of basic white card that we can use in the centre. I've kept all of the centres of these cards quite plain, just so that you can choose what you want to do with the insides, or you could by all means of course leave them plain as well. Okay, so there we have that. The next thing I have is I have a die cut label here. It comes from the seasonal label dies, which were actually around Christmas. They're carrying over, and they're just really lovely dies. Great shape, great for using on the backgrounds of your cards. And I've actually run this one through the Hive 3D embossing folder, which is part of this suite. And I just love the sort of look you get with that. I love the embossed side, and the debossed side is also really nice as well. Now this here, we're actually going to use this on the background of our card, and I couldn't not make cards with this suite without using the doilies. Now a lot of people say to me, what are we going to do with the doilies? What can I do with that? Well, I'm hoping this class might give you a little bit of inspiration. So what I'm actually going to do to make these doilies go that little bit further, because we all like to make our products go as far as possible, I'm going to cut it in half. Okay, so I'm going to just line it up so that my cutting gutter my cutting line, go sort of through the halfway mark there and just cut it. So this colour is Cinnamon Cider, and I have finally decided Cinnamon Cider is the in colour that I'm going to miss most from the colours that are retiring this year. Now I'm going to layer this behind my label die, just so that we've got a little bit peeking out. Okay, so I'm going to stick that one down nice and flat, sort of in the centre of the horizontal part of the card, but over towards the right hand side. Okay, and then this die here I'm going to stick down onto foam pads, onto Stampin' Dimensionals. As I said at the beginning of this video, I've created a lot of layering with these cards. I think this suite is really good for layering, and this is just a few little techniques to how you can create some really nice layers on your cards. Okay, so that's going to get stuck down like so. So just having that little peep of colour coming out there in the shape of the doily, I think is a really nice little delicate touch. Okay, the next thing we have this large flower that is the centerpiece of this stamp set, I would say. So it's this design here, and it's almost like a pencil sort of sketch. There's a lot of detail in that image. It's great for colouring, but I wanted to use it just sort of on the black and white sort of style, the monochromatic style, and I think it goes in really nicely with this colour palette that I've chosen as well. So I'm going to attach that to my label like so. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to stamp our sentiment. So I haven't stamped my sentiment already. I'm going to do that with you guys. So let's ink that with Memento. And this sentiment, I have used this sentiment so much. I have used it on so many different cards and projects. It really is very, very handy. And I'm going to trim that down into a banner. I've stamped it onto craft card that you have in your kit, like so. And then that is just going to go across this section of my card. So I really love the combination of the neutral brown sort of colours on this. You've got crumb cake, you've got craft card, and you've got cinnamon cider as well. It's a really nice selection of colours. And then the last piece that I'm going to add to these cards, I have some little die cut pieces that come from the dies that coordinate with this set, and I'm going to layer them just sort of in and around my card. And this is where the pick and mix element sort of comes in. It's up to you what dies you use on what card. You do have enough in your kit for all the cards, and obviously if you have the dies at home you could always cut yourself a few more. And I've chosen to cut this from Soft Succulent card. Again, it's a really nice colour that goes really nicely with the browns that I've chosen, and it's just a little bit different from the, I've got a real stubborn piece there, 2 seconds, just a really nice different colour, different green to your traditional sort of greens that we would use. So I'm just going to slide these in and around. You can trim them down if that works better for you, but if not, just sort of tuck them under. And I'm not sticking them completely down, I'm not sticking each leaf down or each section. I'm leaving them so they sort of run a bit free and just give you a little bit more texture on your cards. Okay, and there we have card number 1 all finished. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and I will see you all over on the next video. Bye for now.